this is all part of like just games preservation in general. You know what I mean?
That's a segue.
Look at
he's learning. The best part is he's learning.
And welcome back to another Linux Gamecast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. I'm Ben, that's Jordan, that's Sandy, and together with you, Shot Realm Dynamic, helping us form Cocaine Voltron. Look at those gorgeous, gorgeous canes. A Voltron eliteness.
What kind of wood are they carved out of?
You think they're wood, silly boy. They're made out of an advanced polycarbonate block of plant matter. That
vegan cheese. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, vegan cheese.
It's stuck on a fork somewhere in a landfill.
Made from sugar cane.
We got a big show for you tonight, everybody, so get prepared. We were talking at the pre-super shows, and go back and listen to that if you're one of our gorgeous, super hot patrons, about torturing underpowered hardware for amusement, you know?
It's like the Tickle Me Elmo Scott posted.
Yeah, just like that. Literally the same thing. And I was playing around, I've been playing around the past couple of days with a RISC-V board. Relatively inexpensive piece of hardware. We're talking like $60, $50, depending. You can even get them for like $40 if you get them in the different configuration. And it can do an AI. I've done several AIs this week. And, hire me. I can probably, I'm GAI, man.
Number one prompt engineer in Athens, Georgia.
Vibe AIing.
Hey, how are you?
This thing is like fantastic. It doesn't even have like dedicated AI hard. It's got like some fusion, whatever, built into the RISC-V cores. And it's like, it can technically do it.
Mm-hmm.
It can technically do it's good enough for me. And I've been feeding it and just watching it scream, which I turned out dangerous to do, man. It's dangerous to do when it doesn't have like frequency control and it doesn't have like thermal throttling. And you reach over and you're like, that's getting warm, and you touch. I genuinely burnt myself by touching the SoC. Like, burnt myself. I was reminded when I went to wash my hands and when it's getting refilled. I'm like,
still a little tender.
Yeah, like I'm surprised it didn't, like the BGA grade it didn't slide down a little bit. Good on that. It's a stiff little critter.
There's some crispy flesh bits left on there, though, maybe.
I was going to say, it's a 2020 version of branding.
Man, I've been playing around with it, though. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And, of course, it talked out, like, what would it be like getting slashed out back in the day? Found out earlier this week, had my shit show up on the front page of Hacker News, took down goddamn interfacing Linux, turned into a smoldering crater for about 6 or 7 hours. That came back up in one piece. That was fun. That was a learning experience that, I don't want to be ever again on the front page of Hacker News. So there's that. More to come. Stay tuned. Oh, man, how are you with this? You ever had this happen to you? How do I dance around this issue? I don't want to give out names here, just in case they might be listening. Went out, about 5 or 6 months ago. I reached out to a company. I'm like, yo, I'm starting this thing up. I think you make some cool products and all that. They told me to go pound sand. I'm like, all right, that's cool, man. Not a problem. Guess who came crawling back this week? You get the email back and they're like, hey, yeah, we noticed, we'd like to work with you. And you got to play nice with them. You can't be like, motherfucker, you remember,
You gotta turn the other cheek, as it were.
Oh, trying to be a good person.
Be the bigger company.
Trying to be a good person, man. Yeah, but Jordan, I've written that other email in my head about 9 times.
That's sitting in a text file somewhere, not to be sent. Get that out of your system, yeah.
But it's for a good cause, because what I was, this is like baby steps of getting hold to a Snapdragon.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, which will benefit us all, and this will be, actually, it'll be good for like Linux Gamecast. One of the reasons I bring it up, because it's, if, our sexy time works out, we come to an agreement. It's one of the newer mini PCs with the new AMD chips in it. Like the new ones. Nice. So I think that'll be interesting to get some benchmarks and stuff like that, and gaming benchmarks along with all the other stuff. So keep an eyeball peeled over on Interfacing Linux, YouTube, wherever you can consume the letters I and L in that lovely orange. It's this color because I put the mouse and GIMP over that.
Yes.
Yeah, with a little eye drop, and I went click, and that's how we got the color.
So it's a nice sunny delight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like a sunny delight that's seen some shit. You know, it's not.
I mean, if you leave it out in the sun too much, then it looks like that. Yeah.
Oh, the curses, man. Sandrew,
Yes, sir.
you're back with us, back in one piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What
Yeah,
happened to your
I
Canada
survived.
Canada sticker? You had a Canada sticker on earlier.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
My tour patch.
Yeah.
The box of matches,
Yeah. The
Sardine can.
patches.
sardine can, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the way the light was hitting it. I was like, what the fuck's on the top of your hat, man?
Yeah, you got a sardine can on your head.
I
What
mean,
the
it's
hell,
Sandy.
man?
Listen, anybody else
Exactly.
that would have
Sometimes
been
you need a
completely
snack.
out in left field. You're right. He was like, well, yeah, sure, man. That's where I keep them. Glad
Sometimes
you're
you
back
get
with
hungry.
us.
Doesn't everyone wear sardines on their hat?
Well, I put an onion on my belt because it was the style at the time.
Listen, man, I thought it might be an Alberta thing. I wasn't going to judge you motherfuckers. However, Jordan, you've been on a caging adventure. You teased us last week. Well, you regaled us last week with The Crow.
The Crow. And you know this is a movie very similar to The Crow.
Literally, yeah.
Literally the same movie. No, I watched source of many a Nick Cage meme that I'd never seen before. Vampire's Kiss from the 90s. Which, minimal spoilers, is a movie about a man contracting rabies. And the adventures he goes on as a result of this. They don't quite spell it out in the film, but it's like, yeah, no, this dude has rabies, 100%. Like if you have not seen it, it has some pretty excellent Cage faces. He's doing this stupid fucking voice throughout the entire fucking movie. He sounds like a character out of a Simpsons episode or something. Or like fucking Mr. Peabody or some shit like that. It's pretty fucking hysterical. He's a complete and utter garbage person in the film, but that's kind of the point. And yeah, no. At some point you're like, can his face get any crazier? And the answer is yes. And he keeps going and he keeps going. So if you,
one of the things we were discussing is like, was that really like, is that really the first time on film, like in a movie that we saw just Cage just going full Nicolas Cage on it?
Quite maybe because there's another Coppola in there as well. So I think like this is a
Shh, we don't talk about that.
yeah, right,
Yeah, Cage, not
Cage.
Yeah.
not Kal-El, you know.
Yeah.
I'm Superman.
Is there like an old man Superman arc?
There's a couple, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Seems like a safe bet.
Yeah, Infinite Crisis, they dabble into it. Then after Infinite Crisis came out, there was a whole side
I would
thing.
say Kingdom Come is probably your best bet for an old man Superman story.
Yes, Joel, that is a accurate.
Rabies, yeah.
Rabbies.
Oh, rabies. Nothing like a
Rabies.
nice tall glass of water. Something we should give to the horse, Jordan.
I mean,
Not
the horse
rabies.
already has rabies,
No,
so maybe
water.
don't exchange
High
any
quality.
fluid with it. High quality H2O? No, it needs more Gatorade. It's the Steam.
All
right, so this is pretty neat. Accessibility options in games are great. Love to be able to, actually play games. Maybe you need to mess around some settings here or there, but at the end of the day, as long as you're playing the game, you're having a good time. That's all we want. So now Valve is going to be rolling out a feature that allows you to filter games based on the accessibility options they expose. So this is stuff like color blindness settings, adjustable difficulty, narrated menus, presence or lack thereof of timed inputs, all that kind of stuff. Right now, the Steam development page has a little form for you to describe the accessibility options of your game. They're doing like a big push for data collection to get as many games as possible before they roll this feature out so that people can actually find stuff. And yeah, this is just a good thing in general. We want more people playing games. We want people to have a good time playing games, and removing obstacles towards that is just a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like one of the things I like about it, and I'm hoping that comes out is like for the menu narration is that we get something like Morgan Freeman or Gladys.
Why?
Doing
why? Every fucking Steam for Linux comes out. I hope Morgan Freeman. Proton. Well, I hope Morgan Freeman. I'm like, God damn it, Sandy. Like, not everything can have Morgan Freeman narrate it.
Everything needs Morgan Freeman. This is just the way it should be.
Let me ask you this: would you settle for Lawrence Fishburne?
No, has to be Morgan Freeman. I'm with Sandy. I just think
you're not going to downgrade.
No,
all right.
no. Look at this, man. Look at this. This is more than I would even think about, because a lot of this stuff, like, you know, even if you're not like digging around for accessibility, some of this is just for everybody involved. Quality of life shit, adjustable difficulty, save any time, adjustable text sizes. These are great. Stereo sound, surround sound, playable without timed input. That's something, you know, hey, that's a good way to filter up bullshit QuickTime games. What the hell's camera comfort, though? What do we think about that?
So that's camera control, like having like non super restrictive camera angles.
Okay, so no Japanese 3D titles from 1999 till
like basically like if it's a Capcom game, get fucked.
All right,
and no screen shake, I would assume.
Maybe you would think like what are like other torture things? Like can we just go ahead and like put film while we're here, Valve, like film grain, motion blur, because some people got problems with motion blur, dude.
Yeah, no, like for like motion sickness stuff, especially if they want to like push VR stuff.
Yeah.
Then like this, but again, like getting the, I'm sure they're gonna like add more stuff as like more accessibility options, you know, become available. I should hope so. This is the only list of things that can be accessible, and if it's outside of that, then too bad.
And I like that they basically just set up a little wizard for game devs and be like, hey, you want to like fuck around with this stuff? And like some people will, some people won't, but the ones that will, that's going to be good. You know, I like the incentive.
It's gonna drive sales, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, exactly. Because like they've proven more and more, the more that devs actually use the tools that Valve puts out for Steam, it really helps them in the long run.
Well,
in terms of like just sales.
Even in terms of just, you know, people are going to be looking for games to play, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, I have epilepsy. I have like. Yep. I have like motor control issues, so I can't play games that require like timed inputs or whatever, right? So like, you know, funneling people towards those games will encourage them to buy them because it shows that there are products for them, right?
Can we add one for still running Windows 7?
Unfortunately, no. You may need to upgrade to a more expensive handheld.
Damn it.
What about 3.1?
Go Legion, Go Legion Go is the title of the live stream, and for a good reason. That's a bad reason. Womp womp. Legion Go S SteamOS edition has gotten itself one of those price hikes, which is, you know, not a good thing at all, man. You know, having what was it? It's not horrible. All right, let's just go ahead and scroll down here. This is going to be on PCGuide.com. Go check this out. It'll be in the show notes linked under the video. The jump is $549 to $599. You see that and you're like, okay, you know what? Modern day, modern time, it could be a fuckload worse. Agreed. However, like when they talked about this thing at like CES, they're like, this thing's gonna be $499. So $499 to $599, that's $100.
Yeah.
It's still in Steam Deck territory though, isn't it, Jordan?
It's kind of getting outside of that.
It's not as sexy as it was at $499 though.
No, and like the extreme one as well, that is more of a price difference of closer to $80. But yeah, I don't know. The other thing too is this seems to be a US only thing. I remember when we first talked about the GA of this, there was a listing up on the Best Buy site back in LGC 657. We're on 662 right now for math reasons. So yeah, 7 weeks ago. There we go. I can do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the price on the Canadian website has not changed. They only had the 1 terabyte model, and that was still about 1,000 Canadian.
Yeah, I was going to say how fucked with the Canadian prices just in general.
Poland apparently, according to this article as well, is also not reporting a price change as well. So this is probably to do with the tariff situation going on in the US right now. It's still very pricey for that handheld. The Steam Deck was kind of had like that novelty aspect to it, but now that like it's kind of an established quantity and there are cheaper options on the market, I don't know if the better hardware is going to push sales. It might, but we'll see.
I think it might, but I think we're also going to see people like you know, if there's going to be a special edition of something, people are going to buy whatever the cheapest option is and like learn how to install SteamOS, like once it becomes generally available. But like even price sensitive, I was blown away. Not one, two people I personally know have Switch pre-orders, told me about it, and told me about both of them. Both of them ordered 2 Mothering Switch 2s.
What the?
They weren't excited about the one. The humble brag was like, I got a second one too. Not to sell, to have, you know, if it was for the wife or for the kid and all that. But I'm like, those things are $500 a pop, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Like you literally could have got 2 Steam Decks.
People are addicted to the first party titles, man. They don't care about that. And I wonder if we're going to see like a race to the bottom. Like maybe Valve is right here to be very cautious about distributing SteamOS, because I think that is one of the things we will see is people shoving SteamOS on things that it just absolutely has no business running on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit more, but like they're already having a bit of a problem, like with people over-representing what the deck is capable of and what SteamOS is capable of.
Dude, the
like,
4K 60, pretty.
Yeah, you know, Monster VR. Hunter, Star Wars, whatever. Yeah.
You got the FSRs on, man. It's great.
Elder Scrolls obliterate your Steam Deck. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That happened, didn't it? Elder Scrolls is out. Are we excited about that?
Yeah.
Really? I thought one of you would at least been like, yeah, that was a fun game. I never played it.
I played a little bit of it. I like to find.
Pedro's
already posted screenshots in Discord. We know he got
talked about it. I think it was like the same day. Pedro in Discord was like, look, that's out. And he's like, I'll hold off until Peyton. And it's like a minute later. He's like, how about it? I know.
Yeah, but be unable to sell you yet another copy of Skyrim. Todd has a novel idea. Why don't I sell you a new version? Okay, all right.
Now that we have this, the Oblivion Remastered. Take your bet. 3 years or 5 years until we get Skyrim remastered.
Didn't we already get Skyrim remastered? We got Skyrim special.
But it's good. But in little text is like we did with Oblivion and Rapid and UE5.
I say 3 years.
Because there's no world where it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, now I think we're gonna start seeing like, now we got to re-release Oblivion a billion times. Then, oh man, once they get to Morrowind, someone's gonna get mad at OpenMW.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, buddy.
Now, what about a Steam vote? I see that in chat. DX goes, Steam, I don't know, but again, I'm sitting here waiting. Like Nintendo will eventually make a mobile phone to play their games. Like that's where they're going with this. But hey, why are we talking about the Elder Scrolls? It's out. It's not Linux native, but it's got mud crabs, and we all fucking hate mud crabs. So I thought it would be a good time to get everybody together and just discuss how much they hate fucking mud crabs. But on top of that, if we scroll down a little bit, it is dun. It's got a green check mark for being Steam Deck compatibility tied.
But as mentioned, it is UE5, so that check mark comes with its own little asterisk.
What George's implying here is it might look a lot more similar to these animated GIFs down here on the store page when you're playing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was on team when I saw this. I'm like, that's cool, but like also you can just play like modded OG Oblivion, and yes, this looks a lot nicer, and yes, it has like a fresh coat of paint or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and jaded.
It looks really good. I've watched a couple of people stream it because I'm like, I'm probably never going to go back and play this, and I have no experience. But like, it looks like a modern game. Mm-hmm. Like it genuinely does. Like they didn't just AI upscale it and call it a fucking day. Whoever Bethesda got into this and they dug around.
Patrick Stewart.
Yep, 100%.
He got stabbed in the opening of a game.
Oh, poor guy. But to what Jordan might have been alluding to is doesn't deserve its Steam Deck verified status. PC Games and Oblivion Remastered looks worse than the original and Valve's handheld gaming PC. Once again, raising questions about the ratings process. Now go back and listen to last week's show where we had a pretty in-depth thoughts and hints and a couple allegations thrown around about what can be done about that. But basically, it's kind of struggling to hit, 30 FPS, even with all the gimmicks cranked up, to high and all the resolutions cut down to low. I think they said, now, one good thing about the game, and this is something we brought up last week, it detects a deck and it goes ahead and puts it in, deck mode for old decky. It does. It's pre-configured and it sets it to low with ZSS, which is Intel's, DLSS or FSR, their version of that. It puts it unbalanced. And even if you toss in some frame gen on top of that, it only kind of sometimes hits 30 FPS. Because, let's face it, UE5 is going to UE5, and it's doing a good job of being UE5 right here on a handheld gaming system. We just got to go back to what were you expecting? Like, what you said last week, Jordan, like, it's not a high-end gaming PC. Do you think that should be, like, burnt into the firmware as the boot screen? Like red flashing letters?
I don't know. I think there is probably something to be said about, like, the systemic weight of UE5 and, like, how resource intensive these games are for, in a lot, like, not to say like the new Oblivion doesn't look good, but, like, for less than this in terms of, like, visual fidelity and, like, in terms of model quality and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know. If like UE5 is ultimately like a good thing for the industry in terms of, like, being able to actually run the games. This shit though, it's like, this is a game that people probably would want to play on their handheld though. Absolutely, right? Like,
they're probably going to be able to play it on their Steam. Switch too.
Yes, absolutely. They're just going to have to pay $150,
90 to 100. Well, yeah, right. They're going to be like, dude, ours is only 75. Because we care.
And then on top of that, you got the networking, to download it.
But then on the Switch store, they have $30 horses.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The engine,
people seem to be enjoying it. So, like,
oh yeah, everybody seemed like if you were, like, hooked on it, like, I think a bunch of people, like, they just stealth dropped this and, like, it jumped up on the charts with a bunch of players, and it was only like $40, which is like, look at you being generous. But I think they earned their $40 with the amount of work that went into it. But
I think they also completely sabotaged Avowed with this, but oh well.
Avowed?
Yeah, the other game that got released by Microsoft that is basically, we have Elder Scrolls at Home, but it was, like, basically just the combat and none of the other RPG stuff. Did either of you see anybody playing? I watched a couple of people playing around with the Expedition 33. I have seen the thumbnails, but I have not watched the gameplay.
Interesting turn-based mechanic system, because I'm always interested in mechanics, and it is turn-based, but it requires active work during the turn-based. It's not like auto battle or like old Final Fantasy, I guess I should say.
Yep.
Where you pick and, like, set it and let it go. No, you got to, like, parry and block and all this other stuff. So pretty wild. Elder Scrolls, though. Here's my question. Let me know in the comments. I've only played Skyrim. That's it. That is the only thing Elder or Scrollsies I've ever touched was Skyrim. And I played it too. I got about 80 hours. I know, rookie numbers for me. That is an insane amount of time in a video game. So I wonder, could I go back to something like this? It wouldn't be going back to it, but, like, taking it on as a new experience, because what I watched looked very Skyrim-y. It looked like an updated graphical version of Skyrim. I was like, I wonder if I can get into it. Was the story really good? Does it hold up? I don't know. Sandy, did you ever play this game? No?
Yes.
You did? Yes, okay, then I guess you could talk about it.
Yeah. So I've played every Elder Scrolls game. And
quit bragging.
Yeah, this okay, so I was watching a bunch of the gameplay videos because I wanted to see, like, how everything, because they definitely moved assets from the engine, like all the models and stuff like that. Even the face movement of a lot of the models is still the same as the original. I'm like, did you guys, all you do is just move all the assets over to Unreal 5 and you're just like, call it a day.
Sidebar, there was that great hard drive article they posted where it's like, man complaining about ugly Oblivion NPCs looks suspiciously like Oblivion NPC.
Yeah. So, like, I can't get behind this at all. Like, they easily probably could have had an easier time moving the assets from their first creation engine over to the Skyrim one. But I guess they just want to screw over the modders because, reasons. Because they hate the modding community.
Now, see, I don't understand that argument because there's already 500 mods available for this version.
Already?
Yeah, it's drop in place. Why? Because they kept that original skeleton and imported it into UE5. So it was basically drag and drop to get the old mods up and working.
Okay.
Because they didn't completely rewrite and fuck things up like they did with Skyrim Enhanced Edition and Skyrim VR, which caused the modders to have to redo all their bullshit.
Or Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was the other one.
Oh yeah, Fallout 4 was
the
notorious for that shit. Yeah.
They released a patch that completely broke mod support.
Yeah, unless the fact that is there's 400 or 500 mods currently available for the game because very minimum work was required to bring them over.
Yeah, to move this over. Yeah, I guess from that standpoint, but I still hate Todd. I can go to hell.
I need a reason to be angry at somebody.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I don't know how difficult it is to get OG Oblivion to run on a modern computer. With Wine and Proton or whatever, you fucking click the button and it goes.
Yeah, we're still waiting on
we're spoiled in Linux land. Yeah,
to have support for and I would say good on Bethesda. They gave everybody involved with the open Oblivion project a free copy of the game.
Nice.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that. That's just a free PR win right there. Smart move.
Yeah, that is a good PR win
from a company that can use
unless they're trying to, unless the big brain play is but now that they have a copy of the game, no clean room implementation for you.
Well, I think it's a lot better than the Nintendo method of suing them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Degrees. I guess speaking of fan remakes, we got interesting one that has a bit of a history here on Linux. Black Mesa, the Half-Life 1 remake. It's been 10 years. That feels like a long ass fucking time. It means they've had some time to get their Linux version working better for real this time. Really real this time. Also with the new stable beta version, which you do have to opt into, it does not report as a virus anymore. So your Malwarebytes or whatever will finally stop complaining about Black Mesa installed, and G-Man can have full control of your system. But there are also a lot of toggle and DXVK fixes in here as well. They do note that there is a bug where if you go from full screen to borderless windowed mode, your UI, gameplay UI will get fucked up, but you can just restart the game and it will be all nice and normal. And the other thing they did is added a more consistent render path across GPUs. That way everything is doing more or less the same thing across whatever GPUs, and that should help with finding and tracking down bugs. So that's good to see. They're still working on it.
Now, one thing I wanted, because what you were talking about, this, it didn't have not like day one. I don't think it had a day one Linux version, did it?
No, I don't
We
believe
had to wait a little bit for it. And
I think it was a year and a half.
It does not support Nuvo display driver. Will soon. Stay tuned. Not by any work done on your end, but when we got that release, it's they did a Linux release, but as what so often happens, not so much because everybody's just running everything through Proton, but back in the day was they would do that. They got that release out and they neglected the shit out of it. And the other version just kept on creeping further and further and further. And they lost parity and they just never went back and worked on it to get to the point where you just run it through Proton. That was just the way to do it. So it's good to see them come back and, give it a little bit of love, optimize it, clean it up for the Steam Deck, make it run that little bit extra. And yeah, I'm really curious as to see how the native version compares to just running the Windows version through Proton these days, what the performance delta is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, It's doing good. 84 in Metacritic. People had a good time in this. I know exactly where I'm at in this game, where I've not quit. I still remember Scott. If Scott's watching, I think Scott was there. I was like, fuck this game. I'll come back. Because I got in the fuck boxes of fuck boxes, dude. 2 bullets. 6 guys to kill, and I had to live, die, repeat, and I got tired of live, dying, repeating, and I still know exactly where I'm at.
And it's probably one of those spots where it's like
dreams.
really awkward save position too, where you saved and you realized
I'm in a tunnel where I'm coming out of a tunnel, and there's a base there. There's no I meat hammered it enough to try to speed run to cheese to it. I was like, nope, you got to wipe these guys out. And I will eventually complete my road to Zen. I will get to that damn Zen map, because that's what we were waiting on for like 19 years out of the 20, right? For them to finish the Zen map. And when they did, they pushed it out. Very well done. I never played the original Half-Life 1, so this is my only experience with it. And it still holds up as a game, with this visual overhaul. 1999, if you don't have it, pick it up still. I would still like to see a co-op mod for this with Sven. Yeah.
Sven co-op. Yep.
Sven co-op, not that hacked up self-running thing that Jordan did one time and we spawned outside of the map.
I tried. Okay?
I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the. Yeah. It wasn't good, man. All right.
Speaking of Mesa, but a different type of Mesa.
Vintage GPUs. In your collection. I'm talking about the dusty ones. The ones you get up on your shelf that you show people. You like Maxwell, Pascal, Voltas. Nobody had Voltas.
What about the Mars Volta?
The Mars Volta? What about the Chevy Volta? Oh, you're right. We're talking about Collabora, so we're probably talking about NVIDIA, which means NVK, and of course, drivers. Now, they said they were going to do this, and here they are. Open source driver goodness for the Maxwell, the Pascals, and the Volta GPUs. But Jordan, there's a catch.
There is. Unfortunately, these are GPUs that were released pre-GSP firmware, where NVIDIA is just like, hey, here's the black box. You can just write a driver that implements all the functions and whatnot. So as a result of this, if you're on Maxwell, Pascal, or Volta, you are stuck at your boot clock. So no dynamic reclocking. And that means no dynamic power management. And you probably do want to clock it up to something pretty decent. Otherwise, you're just going to be getting a throttle GPU when you're using this.
Listen, these are performance optimized drivers, Jordan.
Yes, they definitely are more optimized than Nouveau.
They're go fast, maximum. No, you're like, what are you nerds talking about? I've never seen a NVIDIA card called Maxwell. Anything older than a 20 series.
Yeah, Maxwell was the 10s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or might have been the 9s. Either way, it is the 8 9s and 10s.
900s.
900s. Yeah, they are still there's partial support in the works for Kepler, which is the 700 series, because they are similar enough to I believe they're similar enough to Maxwell that they were able to get a bunch of stuff working in various states. If you are on Fermi though, which is the 400 series, you may be shit out of luck.
Okay, you legitimately, I was making a haha funny joke, but yeah, if you're running a 400 series, dude, that's seriously like vintage hardware at this point, because like a 10 series is how many generations ago?
4? No, 3.
5.
4? Is it 5 now?
4, I guess. Yeah, because 10, 12, 13.
And I got like a
did we skip one? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's like over a decade old.
20, 30, 40,
50.
40.
Yeah, 50. Yeah, so
that many heads.
That many.
Yeah,
this many.
I told you it wasn't
we're adults.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this NVK stuff, 100% better than like any catches and little side problems here.
Yeah.
Way better than just what we've had for like the last 2 decades. Team Green is finally, if you got that drawer of old video cards. I got one of those, like 400. I got a 400 now, 500 in there. No, there wasn't a 600. That's why I don't have a 600. I'm like, no, I got a 700.
I had the 670 Ti. That was the one I got. Yeah.
And I still have the 970M.
All right.
For the Steam machine.
But if you got like those old video, because if you're ever in the situation, especially if you're home lab and stuff, you got media servers, you got that little couple of cards set aside of like, all right, what the fuck's wrong with the system? Let me go get a GPU to stick it here and see what's going on and plug it in. Yeah. Like they can finally like enter that, because like previously mine's just been a bunch of like old AMD single slot cards of like clunk. You don't have to think about it. You're like, oh, right. Is that going to work with Nuvo? Does it like boot? Or like, no, it just comes up now.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with like the legacy NVIDIA drivers that like they update once a century so that it like builds on a modern GCC.
Or
like,
a kernel made in the past 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is good in general. It makes these cards like at least semi-useful in a modern setting.
It is. It's going to keep them around much longer, still kicking with maximum performance enabled. Keep them plugged in, kids. All right.
Oh, hell's
you use it to emulate some Wii games.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, man, you don't need that much power. You just need a single board computer. I've been playing around with Dolphin quite a bit. And there is a progress report 2503 out. And man, you guys all have something to talk about. The one that legitimately made me go, fuck all the yeses is way down here. I'm scrolling. I love these things, man. I'm like, ooh, I didn't have that. So, one thing I hate about emulation, this is had nothing to do with Nintendo emulation or Sega or like whatever.
In general,
futzing with the damn settings, because there's so many of you like, like, give me a slider, like one that says don't work and like kind of works and like looks pretty but runs like ass. And like, because then you start like going into like the PPU and GPU and everyone's a spreadsheet. I'm like, dude, ain't no fucking way, homie.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to just dick around with a couple of settings for each game. With Dolphin, there really wasn't a clean way to do that. Now it could be done, but you had to like basically write out a little text file description under your user config area. And enough people over all these years of like, dude, it would be dope. Instead of just having this, you pull up on the per game. And you're like, I don't want to like have to look all this code up. Couldn't I just get like a nice little GUI so I can adjust what you would typically go in there and monkey around with, like your anti-aliasing, texture filtering, output resampling, color correction, scaling, your stereoscopy, just your basic stuff, man. If you need some hacks, advanced, but you're going to be able to do it on a per game basis instead of just like the over, like, oh, let me change all the settings for this and all this. I love that little bit of refinement, that little bit of detail to make that quality of life. Why? Because I know people are going to get out there and do this for me. And I'm not going to have to worry about it.
That kind of neatly dovetails into my thing, because a lot of these quality of life fixes are actually being implemented by cheats. You not because you're emulating the console, you have access to all the memory running, and you can do a bunch of weird shit. Like, improve the frame rate or upscale the resolution or all this shit. Improve color blindness. We were talking about accessibility options in the Steam segment. There's a bunch of cheats that enable them for Wii games. There's also retro achievements, which allows you to add achievements to games. The problem is because, these quality of life things are implemented by achievements. If you were running through games in hardcore mode, you weren't allowed. It did track to see if Dolphin was running cheats, and that meant that you were kind of suffering.
You mean enhancements?
Enhancements,
yeah.
Big old like double D enhancements. G cups, baby. But yeah. The G stands for GameCube. Sandy, don't be.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
And anywho, so there is with the retro achievements, folks, they have now implemented a whitelist of enhancements that you can use while you're running through a game in hardcore mode. So you can try to actually like get your hardcore achievements, but not have to like actually wheel out an old television or like squint really hard or put up with like really shitty input or really shitty graphic settings. This is just a nice to have. I mean, people are going to be salty about it either way, but fuck them. They're losers.
Well, the big thing I really love about it is like what Ven had already touched on, like how they how Billiard, one of the members of the team, like just created a whole new user experience for mapping, which is huge because every time, because I keep all my my dumps on my external hard drive, so whenever like I do a new install or like I have a new PC and I have Dolphin, I reinstalled Dolphin. So every time I have to remap everything, and it's such a painful process. Now, like, I already tried it out, and it's like, this is like phenomenal. And it's running, what was it, QT6 for a lot of the UX stuff. So, which is phenomenal. Like, because it's so snappy. So snappy.
GTK superior. But it's not.
Plebs.
It's not.
N curses. N curses.
Sandy, all I'm hearing is you dare play your Wii and Wii U games without official controllers and a converter, you peasant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, because a lot of those converters are like...
Hey, Nintendo, I'd play
like
them with those remade
bucks.
USB ones if they weren't like $80, dude. Goddamn. Yeah,
some of the other ones, like on eBay, they're going for like almost 200.
Yeah. I'd like
it's insane, man. And like retro achievements, I'm so happy about the retro achievements because
I would like if anybody has like a recommendation, because I don't want to like pay the iron price. I want like a one that'll work like a Wii Pro, regular controller with the tablet bullshit. Mm-hmm. But it seems like the options are like the Nintendo trash versions, like the ones like the little super cheap ones that you could crush, or you just got to pay the iron price and get a converter and all that. I don't want one that bad. So if anybody has a recommendation for like a not Tendo, I'll also take one for N64 because at some point I want to go through Ocarina of Time and finish it. Yeah, good job,
Arcanian, baby.
Yeah.
Well, and this is all part of like just games preservation in general. You know what I mean?
That's a segue.
Look at it.
He's learning. The best part is he's learning.
He's learning. Yeah, so speaking of games preservation, GameIndustry.biz, they put out this neat little article talking about how Square Enix, Capcom, Taito, and Sega are committed to archiving past development materials. So, which, if you guys know Taito, they're the ones that did a lot of arcade machines, pinball machines. Like, so this is really awesome news because, like, Japan, like Japanese companies, like getting on board with preserving the past. Like, this is because before, like, they were probably, I would say, the most like against it, like because they were like, oh, you gotta buy the latest remix that we made. This is giving back. In my opinion.
Yeah, so this comes out of a talk from SIGGRAPH, where they're talking about how Square and Capcom and others have committed to start to preserve a lot of like the old assets, documents, art, etc. For a lot of these old games, because bringing, there's a slight tangent bringing it to Doctor Who. We all know that like they fucking taped over old Doctor Who reels, right? Like there is like genuine lost media as a result of this, and so these companies are now taking an effort to more actively archive stuff. I think Taito probably has the hardest job out of all of them because they have to actually preserve the circuit boards and the repair manuals and the tools and the knowledge, and a lot of that shit's just going to exist in some like old man's head. Do
you think there's like any advantage to like everybody getting together, like doing a full force effort for like the circuit boards and getting those schematics to everybody involved with the main project?
I mean, there definitely would be some value there. There was also a similar thing that GOG was doing in Europe, FGOMP, which is a bit of a mouthful, but this was another one of these big archival projects. This one though, it seems like Square's interest there is mostly for like AI research, because like the guy who was giving the talk was one of their people out of their AI department, and I think what they want to do is like have a better catalog of stuff to like train their own AIs on, and that requires having their own archives of their own stuff that they own the rights to, unlike OpenAI or Facebook, where they just like torrent shit. So yeah.
It's good to see, man. Like, just keeping this stuff around, because like product, art, whatever, but like this stuff got made and people want to be able to see it, and people don't necessarily want to, what you were saying, Sandy, like buy the latest version of the Street Fighter DLC to get the included bonus updated gallery.
Yeah.
Just to be able to take a look at this shit. And so, right, man.
Well, and like, I would say like, and of all people, Sega is like, because you guys, everyone in the community knows I'm a big Sega fan. Like, I love them. I'll gargle those all day. But like,
those
one of the
blue
big
hedgehog
things is
nuts.
like, yeah, exactly.
Tastes like hot dogs.
Chili
just
dogs,
like hot
baby.
dogs. Like chili dogs. But yeah, like Sega, like they infamously were known back in the 80s and 90s as like repurposing chips and repurposing a lot of stuff, creating their own boards for a lot of the arcade machines. like especially to get certain games to run at such an optimal level. You know, so it's like preserving a lot of that knowledge is going to be like, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait to see a lot of those manuals coming out once they get.
Long as, anything that's going to keep around my Outrun cabinet so I can have it at the theatrical release of the Michael Bay directed movie that is in the works, Outrun.
Is it part of the Skibbity cinematic universe, though?
No, but it's something that's genuinely happening. Michael Bay is directing Outrun, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is he still doing Skibbity Toilet? Is that a thing that's happening still?
You know what? This might be surprising. I've not kept track of that.
Ben,
I know.
How could you?
Shame.
Boo. Shame.
Something I did see in the news, and I was like, shit, I know a way to get Jordan all excited about wearing red shirts. Yeah. So I gave him some PCP. No,
Angel dust, baby, I can fly.
Jordan go burr. Yeah.
I gave him a pound of cocaine.
Look at me. I'm gonna go up the top this super tall building. Woohoo! No, speaking of a bit of a nosedive, D&D has not really. D&D, the rules have been released into Creative Commons, at least the 5.2 SRD or system reference document. And that is really cool. So there's a little bit of background required. I had to go refresh my memory because I remembered some stuff, but not all of it. But way back when, in I believe it was 2023, around the time that the D&D movie was coming out, and they were gearing up for a new release of the new edition of Dungeons and Dragons, the 2024 edition, they were all they decided, hey, all these guys who are like making third-party D&D content, we could be making a lot more money off of them. And so they decided to change the licensing around Dungeons and Dragons, which would have grossly restricted the amount of third-party content that could be made, invalidated the license that was that a lot of this third-party content was previously published under, and created a huge bunch of ripples in the TTRPG industry that they are still feeling to this day. They walked this back because it was a terrible idea, and basically the D&D brand nearly committed suicide as a result of this. And they promised that in order to stop something like this from happening again, subsequent versions of the system reference document would now be released under the Creative Commons license as opposed to the OpenGL or Open Game License 1.0A, which was a license that Wizards made that allowed people back in the 2000s to make D&D, third-party D&D content. If you want to know more about that, go watch the Poopy Super Shows. But anyways, it's out. They made good on this promise. You can actually use the term Dungeons and Dragons now, which is pretty neat. It doesn't have everything. It doesn't have the Bastions rules, which is like their home base rules that they added in the new edition. Stuff like Aboleth, or I think actually they did have an Aboleth, then just scroll past it, but like Illithids and stuff are not there. This like stuff that is like actual D&D product identity. And this is a good thing for the long-term health of the game, but I think this is a win that they need right now because Jeremy Crawford, Jay Craw, and Chris Perkins, the two lead principal designers of D&D, recently just fucking retired. The new edition is not selling as well as people had hoped. We're doing a big push for a virtual tabletop that they've recently announced that is going to be shuttered right now. That was going to be like their big push into the digital space. They tried doing that in 4th edition. That didn't work either. But they need something. So this is something that will keep D&D relevant. People still play D&D. I'm wearing fucking Dungeons and Dragons shirt, right? People have attachment to it. But it is more than just a product. It is more like an oral tradition at this point. Overall, I think this is a good move for the hobby, and I'm glad to see D&D in a spot where it will survive beyond Wizards of the Coast, beyond TSR.
Yeah, gamers getting sweaty in basements since the 70s, baby. This ain't new. Oh man, looking at these stat sheets, and I'm just like, hell no.
That's an assassin. He's got 18 dexterity.
Yeah. An awakened tree, baby. Look at that. Yeah, the awakened plants.
Trents. You can't call them Trents. They're awakened trees.
Bandits.
Yes.
Yeah. Ball sacks. Yeah.
Yeah. Good old ball
devil.
sacks.
Yes.
Bearded devil.
Yeah. Bearded devil, yes.
Berserker. So was I reading this right?
Like
the old license, the OGL, like they put that out like, hey, you can fuck around with our IP and licensing and stuff like that, but we can change it anytime we feel like it.
Well, yeah, and that was the thing. In the 2000s, there was kind of a handshake deal. They were saying that, hey, the people who made this license and the people who were in charge of Wizards at the time were like, Yeah, no, we will not renege on this, and this kind of made D&D an open source game.
So it was like some old school trust me, bro.
Yeah, with some old, well, and like for 20 years almost, they did release a new SRD for 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, but they didn't try to invalidate the old one. They still said, the old one still exists. You can still make material for 3.5 D&D. That still exists. That's actually how Pathfinder came to exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tried to do a rug pull back in 2023, and the community said no. And and they haven't quite recovered from it.
No, that hurt them hardcore with that, like that, because that was a big proponent why like Paizo exists, and like was a lot of the stuff that they tried to pull back in the early 2000s is what really gave Paizo the push to create a lot of their stuff.
They fucked over Paizo so bad because back in the day, I enjoyed reading me a Dungeon and Dragon magazine back when you went to a newsstand and bought magazines, right? And Paizo was running that shit for years, and then Wizards was like, no, we're gonna do our own digital only distribution. Fuck you guys. Turns out they still had a ton of designers writing who were really experienced writing D&D's subject matter. They had a built-in fan base who were also pissed off that their magazine was going away, and they were able to pivot that into being a successful game publishing business.
That's wild, man.
Good on them too.
So yeah, any step in the right direction is the right step. So go for it. Happy to see it, and hopefully it'll keep it the community. That's what we're talking about. Like, keep the community alive.
Might see some more D&D games as well, like video games as well.
We're gonna bring back Drizzit, an old Drizzle.
Oh, they
stop saying that.
That was the thing. They did the Drizzle game and it sucked, and now they're never gonna do it again. Never again.
We just need to get some modders in there. It'll be man, right. It'll be lovely.
See, that's a game I would love to see open sourced, because you could probably fix. I maintain you could fix that game. That game is like not the bones are not.
It's like a Gatling gun and a Redeemer away from being perfect.
Right. It just needs Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, it just needs all the Unreal Tournament weapons.
D&D, CTF, Facing Worlds. Like, let's go.
Well, the OpenMW has that thing where you can like import quick assets into Morrowind and vice versa. Yeah. So dude, this is if you wanted to get people to really fucking gargle balls for the Oblivion remake, it's like also the Doom also you can play as Doom Guy. He's in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just find a book. It's just called Rip and Tear.
You just it turns into Doom Guy.
Yeah.
The fucking Mick Gordon soundtrack starts playing. Yeah. playing through
no. It's Bardcore, dude. It's Bardcore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you gotta have like the echo from like when you get the Quake power up, where it's like the destroy stuff and it gives the reverb.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm genuinely surprised we have not seen a Doom crossover with Halo. They're all owned by Microsoft now. You could have all the Shooty McShoot guys in one 100%. Game.
They can form a Shooty McShoottron. Hey.
Yeah. No. It's a game where you can choose whether you are Master Chief giving Doom Guy a piggyback ride or the other way around.
Fuck,
and then you have to fight.
What Jordan meant to say was dating sim.
Yeah, dating sim.
Sure, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to tell us about your dating sim, or if you got some thoughts, hints, and allegations of your own you'd like to put them in our face, drop a comment on the video. We might peruse it, or you can head over to linuxgamecast.com. We got a website. What are those old school type things? We're bringing them back. Just, read the little things that are on the page before you go send us that email down there.
Reading is hard.
I'm telling you, man.
It's so hard.
You want to come on the show, you get hey, man, 12, possibly 13 people will find out about it if you're working on a game open source project. You want to come on the show on Saturday night, you're not doing anything, we'd love to have you. If you got a crowdfunding campaign, you got a Linux build, come talk to us. And of course, if you want help with your audio visual nonsense, hit me up on the other site, interfacinglinux.com. No reply at linuxgamecast.com. It's actually monitored. Check it out. But like I said, just drop a comment if you're on Patreon over on the YouTubes. And we'll get back to you like some people did this week, because we were talking about NVIDIA last week. What was NVIDIA up to last week? It was drivers last week, wasn't it, Jordan?
Yeah, they updated some Prime stuff and whatnot. And this is from Nefite Junf. I think it was a YouTube comment. And they say, as one of the weird tech tubers using a laptop, I've had a weirdly smooth experience using NVIDIA cards on Linux. Excuse me. Even before NVIDIA started pushing it harder, I'm looking at AMD with future plans, though, and hoping it can work well with other project plans. Then, on top of that, nothing beats playing a split screen on a tiny CRT DVD player combo. I think we were talking about the tiny TV last week, too.
Yeah.
The itty bitty.
I don't know, man. Like, see, this is like, I've always, you know, since NVIDIA on Linux, like even back in the early aughts. I don't like aughts. I don't like the word aughts, the early 2000s. But I've never had a problem with the NVIDIA drivers in comparison to the ATI drivers, which were just not, they're still a shit show today. They're the AMD Pro drivers. Go fuck around with one of those. Find the distribution, the point version of that distribution that driver works on. NVIDIA was smooth sailing back in the day. The one thing you could be like, the NVIDIA drivers, they're just fine. And you're like, but I got a laptop. I'm like, well, you probably got a fucking point there. All right, let's. So I was surprised to see somebody having a positive experience. Good to know that's still kicking and going, man. I too would like to fuck around with something other than, you know, I was like, hey, I'll pick up this new Battle Mage card. And I was like, no, you won't. Nah. We thought about that. We're only going to do a run of those. Yeah. So what do we think, man? Split screen CRTs. I don't know, man. I don't have a tiny CRT. I got the feel here. Like how tiny, because you know they made them like really fucking small, man. You've seen like the ones for campers and stuff. Like mine was a little bigger than that. I don't know. Did you have a tiny CRT, Sandy?
Yeah.
Or small?
A little tiny 4-inch, something like that. No?
Yeah, 4 inches.
Just
yeah.
4
inches.
Well, I mean, 4 inches. I barely fit that on the screen. There we go. Yeah, 4 inches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
4 inches. Yeah, no, we had the tiny one because we actually came out to this town to come camping back in the 80s, and we had one of those tiny little TVs with the little rabbit ears that fold, that attach to the body.
When you could suck the TV out of the space waves.
Yeah.
Wild time. Up next, Epic and Goo, which this one kind of hit hard, man.
It's real as hell. I was shook by this. This is from Murder by Modem. And they say, hey, you fucking idiots, World of Goo 2 has been out since last summer. It was an Epic exclusive. It's hilarious to me when people just don't know that PC games exist because they were being detained by Epic. I remember the same thing happening with Kingdom Hearts, also with Hades and Darkest Dungeon 2. A year after the original PC release on Epic, when it finally came to Steam, there were headlines about how the franchise was finally coming to PC. In the case of World of Goo 2, they already did sell the game as a DRM-free direct download on their own website with a Linux app image. No, mind you, but still, just the fact that it's not on Steam means nobody knew it existed. Lol. That's fucking true as hell, man.
Facts.
Yeah.
God damn. Dummies. Hello.
We were like, hey, it's finally out. And you know what? We're right, because when you talked about the GOG thing, I remember covering, it was like a little side note when it was announced. And like, oh yeah, they said they'll have it on their website. And like, but gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Disappeared.
Yes. Steam has literally become the de facto, like...
What do we say about Epic? Here's what I say about Epic. Epic is early access for your video game.
Yeah.
Like commercial early access. You can like really put it out there and get all the stuff worked out. Then you're like, all right, now it's ready for a release. But
and like if you're a developer, take the fucking money, right? Like it's free real estate.
And we're not seeing a lot of that because like Epic has, you know, we covered that on the show, you know, several months ago, but Epic dialed back cutting those checks just to fucking everybody because they're like, this isn't working. It's like, no, it's not working when people don't even know the game exists.
No.
They're like, wait, what? It's out?
Yeah, people, that whole exclusivity thing really left a sour taste in people's mouths.
People don't like that to begin with, especially on PC, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't know,
and
man.
like, I partake in some free Epic games. Sometimes I see what's on there, but But yeah, like it's always secondary. And if I'm gonna go out of my way to purchase a game, I'm not gonna do it on Epic.
No, I would never even cross my mind to do that. Now, again, if Epic made a Linux client, even if it was shit claptastic, that would change. That would change. There is a 100% more chance of me at least plugging in like my PayPal information on the like, oh yeah, I'll pick that up. It'd be easier to do it through the client. Might buy it, but
or if they start like cutting mad checks to like Heroic or something, and they're just like, get it working. Here's our API. Like even that would be fucking acceptable, right? Like
something.
Yeah, like going back to the AMD graphics thing, like yeah, the proprietary AMD graphics suck. That's why the open source ones are so great. It's because people took it upon themselves. Valve took it upon themselves.
I mean, this is why you got a Steam Deck instead of an Epic Deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All 4 inches of it.
All 4 inches, yeah.
Isn't that right, Bart Chen?
Yeah.
That was still open.
Bailey, Nimbus, Jasmine, and Mira. I'm sad that there wasn't actually a Bart Chan, like an actual Bart Chan.
There we go. That's the right way to tie that one. Like, for real.
Show me the real part. The real part. Professor Bart Simpson.
Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the cut of our jib, you want to help us out, support the show, you can do that. linuxgamecast.com. We got a support tab. You get a couple of things back. We're not just like, cover us with all your spare change, your nickels and your dimes and your quarters. No, we throw some things back in your direction. We give you a live and uncut version of the show, completely commercial free. You get the pre super shows, and you get a better quality video audio version posted over on Patreon that you can just download, watch, no commercials. You don't have to worry about the YouTube nonsense. Access to our super secret Discord. Come hang out with me on Tuesdays and Fridays. TM2 crew. If you're looking for something to do, we got a great community going there playing the latest and greatest maps for an 11-year-old game. But it's just an excuse to get together, keep our old person skills not honed, but like not just completely rusted the hell up. These two, this is Baldur and Gates, the crime fighting duo from Middle Earth, doing the best. D&D and
we're doing all the crimes, man, and we're fighting.
Yeah, we're literally doing all the crimes.
They're rocking on Thursdays. Great times.
I think Empty might be starting to be a regular.
Yeah, I think Empty's like, hey man, I'm quit throwing darts
next week or the week after or something like that. So that's going to be interesting, and we're creeping closer and closer to Act 2. We're getting there.
They're doing it and doing it all on Linux. Come participate. Come join. Come watch. And of course, Wednesdays, weekly, daily Wednesdays. You get your name in the credits and all the other fun things over on linuxgamecast.com/support. Go check it out. We would appreciate it. If not, hey, share the show. Give it a like. Give it a whatever you do. I don't know. Thumbs down if you don't like it. Still, we can always hang out. All right. Are we good? We cover everything. We got a merch store. If you want to like dress up like Frank over here with a Nobe t-shirt, if you want to get a Hello sticker. No Linus thing though, because years later I'm still not can't be asked to make a poster of that outside of the one I made. Right. Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all we got. Have a great week, everybody, because it is definitely time to cue the wrong music.
Okay. No light switch raves. I was gonna go with like
yeah. You can always find us right here on Twitch, 8:30 p.m. Doing it live. Come join us 7:30 in our Discord for patrons if you want to catch the pre super shows and join in on that nonsense. Social medias and all that. Just look for Vinstone on the internet. Unfortunately, enough people have, so you'll find me. I'm on all the things. Come ask me some questions, sign up and hang out over on Interfacing Linux if you want. If not, that's cool. And yeah, there we go.
I'm Jordan. I don't have an anime mascot, but maybe I should. Tell me about what you think it should be. At The Burning Fool on, no, not anymore. At Frojo at bsky.social and at Frojo at mass.linuxgamecast.com. Haha. My brain works.
Brain work. Good.
And I'm Sandy. I'm 4 inches. You know, like 4 inches.
Fucking amateur hitting your goddamn microphone.
Yeah, damn straight. And you can find me on Mastodon at Altimore at mass.linuxgamecast.com.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you think we're ever going to get a micro SD card? A mini micro?
God only knows.
Oh, they're already fucking choking hazards, man. I don't even know how.
I know, but then you can like pop an entire animal. You can actually like inhale one.
You can accidentally like get one caught up in your fingernail when you're trying to actually stick it in the thing.
So somebody was holding you down. I'm like, tell me where the freaking password is to the wallet. No, time for some credits.
Zoom. All right, I was wondering if the rest of the credits were fucked up too. that would have been funny if you forgot to turn it off. We gotta thank our advisors out there. We gotta thank our executive producers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ian Kruducky, The Tower Gross, drummer Barbara M. Scott, Atomic Ass, our little Nicky fans, Eggy, Basil, Empty, and Casey.
Sea Monsters, John, Dirty Deed, Angel, Dementor, System TRL, Rider X Machina, Namama, Vera Tenuta, Truggy, Mike, and K. Jorai.
And then the Death Notes, Red Sky, Mark J, Terra Oil of Hope, Benjamin Nova, Chad Romero?
Bless his heart, he tries.
He tries.
Door Geek, Jason, Zen, all of our chairlings.
Oh, look who that guy is. The guy who can't read his own name.
Yeah, damn straight.
And thanks again for DX Ghost Talk for the hype train early. And as a reminder, if you got a sub, you might not even been watching. If you got a sub on Twitch, you got a notification. Hook it up. Come say hi in our Discord. We'll be there doing the things. But until next week, you Linux-loving miscreants, get out there, have some fun, cause a little bit of chaos, and what's some life advice they should go out on, Sandy?
Don't moon a werewolf. Always a classic.
Don't get rabies or end up like Nicolas Cage.
Don't get cage bees.
Yeah, don't
Nicolas
get
The
cage.
rage cage.
Despite all my rage, I'm still just Nicolas Cage.
Dying to fire, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bullet with vampire wings.
5 dudes.